Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. Able to hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm gonna. I know this is our first session together. So I'm going to make this really quick. Just because I like to get through my intro stuff first. And we already know each other quite a bit, so I don't really need to ask like how long you've been playing, like where you're at. I kind of have an idea of like where your skill is at already.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like to do like a little intro just so people have like some expectations going into coaching and what they can expect out of it and things like that. So I know today's going to be a VOD review session where we're looking at um, the matches from the sub tournament the other day, which is great. Congrats on the run, by the way. That was a lot of fun to watch.
I appreciate it.
Yes, no
It's good
problem.
to see everyone rooting me on in chat. That was cool.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Um, so yeah, as far as like coaching and all that's concerned, one thing I'm very big on compared to other coaches, I'm very big on long term improvement versus just one off tips. VOD review is great for one off tips, and usually I don't recommend VOD review just for like a first time go at it. But I think it'll work just because you heard me talk quite a bit about things you can improve on in the VOD already.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm fine with it for this time. But generally speaking, what I like to start with anybody I'm new on coaching with is I kind of like to get an idea of like what their ideas are about a matchup, talk about like the objective truths in it, like what you're for sure looking for, and then kind of build off that. So you'll notice if you watch a lot of my first time lessons with students, it's us just talking about the matchup and how it's structured and things like that. And then from there on, we build off of it. It's why I always recommend to people if they do coaching on Metafy with not just with me but with anybody, um, don't just do a one-off session if unless you're just looking for like quick answers for how to beat something, um, because otherwise like I said, like you'll just gotta get like little tips here and there. But I think booking multiple sessions over a period doesn't have to be like once a week. It can be at whatever pace you like. But I think that's probably like more beneficial and permanent for any improvement.
Mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, this lesson is going to be recorded. It's going to be uploaded to YouTube. For and that should be up later tonight. I'll have it posted in my Discord, and you can access it any other time. So if we do ever have a session in the future, my recommendation in general is just to watch the video back, because we're going to be talking over the course of like a full hour. And while you may get like the general concepts pretty well, there's just so many different things we'll talk about within an hour. It's impossible to keep up with it all, right?
Right.
Same thing as listening to like a lecture or something. I don't want to be a lecture, but sometimes when you were doing VOD review, especially, like it just goes by very quick. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, definitely, I would recommend as we go on, be prepared to take some notes. But if you miss anything, like I said, no worries. If you ever do decide to book another session in the future, it'll be recorded, so you can come back to that before coming back and doing that. But yeah,
Sounds good.
with that in mind, let's just jump into it. I think that's pretty much everything I needed to cover. Do you have any questions before we get into anything?
Um, Not particularly. I'll save it for I guess when we review over a game
Mhm.
or I also have like a bunch of questions particularly about edge guarding
Sure.
and the Marth killer
Hmm.
because that's something that you pointed out.
Yeah.
I think we'll eventually get to those.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So did you want to just look at the video in like Twitch on like the old broadcast, or would you prefer like Slippy files? How do you want to do this? I
Uh,
I
I
think
mean,
Slippy files is easier personally, but if you don't have them like accessible right now, that's totally fine.
I can send them. I can share screen.
Yeah. Why don't
Like
you
it
send
doesn't
them?
matter.
That'd probably
Yeah,
be
give me
easier.
just 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, as far as the Marth killer is concerned, I won't get like too into it, just because there's a good IBDW video on it, for
Okay.
Fox in particular. But I will talk about like the general concept behind it of what I think a lot of people are messing up on, and where I think you can get better at it. Um, but then like as far as like the specifics, like mix-ups behind it, because it's Marth killer is not like a one-dimensional thing. It's like using neutral layer. Like it's kind of just like a tool. It's how you use the tool that kind of matters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's a very short like video on it that's like perfect already. I'll find that while you get the Slippy files ready. That probably would just be easier.
1 second. Just looking for the file.
No, it's no worries.
And then I need to look at it by game ID. Hold on. I guess we could look at Grands. Grands was like almost an identical set to the winners final set.
Yeah, I think personally, I think you played a lot better in the winner set. In terms of
Yeah, me
like
too.
following a good matchup, but yeah, I think like as far as like the stages and like who won what, yeah, it was pretty much identical.
Okay. I guess do we want to look at the winner set, grand
Sure,
set?
we could
I
look
feel
at
like
both probably if you want to just skim through them, or if you want to focus hard on one. I think winners probably would be, or losers would probably be better, just to see like where things went wrong. You can kind of compare it to the winner set.
yeah, okay. Here, sorry, give me a second.
No rush.
Uh,
Now, I linked the IBDW video that I know, but he does actually also have a couple ones that talk about like harder stuff, like the. I'm pretty sure this is just going to be the KJH Marth Killer, the Marth Killer 2 or 3.0. I don't know what they're on now, but basically what's what?
I said, "Oh my lord!" There's multiple. Yeah, I'm aware there's multiple. It's just like
yeah,
I don't know which one they're on now.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I think that's what this video is going to talk about. And then there's an optimized Marth Killer with May. And May is a really good Marth player from Europe. But yeah, I don't think this one is really necessary. I think this one is like really the one that you need. These ones would be like super tight optimizations, but this Fox Marth edgeguard flowchart is actually broken. That a lot of foxes like today, like Aklo still doesn't know it, and I tell him all the time, watch the video, and he's like, yeah, I will, and he just doesn't. So yeah, but Moki starts doing this now too, and it's really really good. So yeah, this is definitely the one. Basically, what it revolves around with the Marth Killer is Marth's resources. And I think that's something a lot of people like. Well, you'll see a lot of foxes like go out and shine Marth side B, like you did it yesterday. You would just shine Marth for getting close to the ledge and side Bing him. And that's great, but that's kind of like the noob killer almost. The side B. There's one thing I'm like very big on in lessons, and this thumbnail is like a pretty good example of it. Oh shoot, I started it, but it's basically like what I call a no-fly zone. So I don't know if you can see my mouse here, but like this like massive range by the ledge right here, if you're Marth, you're basically not supposed to be double jumping or side B within it, because you'll be clipped by back air or shine every time from Fox. So the shine like that is good, but it's basically like the noob killer just to like do it raw like that, or like a hard read, right? You could look at it either way, because some players will do it as like a mix-up kind of thing once they stop doing it, but you can still punish them for doing it. But anyway, the Marth Killer, why it's great. Well, actually, I'll wait till we get into it. But
I just want to make sure that these are the correct files. Sorry.
No, it's no problem.
It's like some of them, because we did ham warmers and like some of those show up in Slippy, and make sure that I start the right one. Okay, it's this one. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That okay. Okay, this is. I'm sending you all winners finals, and then we can also do grands.
Okay.
Unless if you feel like that's enough content.
Well, you could send them, and then if we get through them, sure. But I feel like winners is probably good. But yeah.
maybe another thing would.
Sure. Let me see how many I've got. Okay, 3, 4, 5.
Should be 5.
Yep. No, I'm just counting how many I downloaded, kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Then this one is 930s. Okay. That should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be these. Okay.
Okay, so that's grands. I'll get that really quick. Okay, cool. So yeah, game 1 for you guys started on battlefield. So I'm just going to make sure these are ordered properly. But I think they are. Yeah, okay. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, basically, the way the Marth killer works, I'm just going to skip to a point where guys are edge guarding each other. And we'll talk about it for that for a second, because I think it's important. Oh, man.
I think something else that I can work on personally is, and this will probably be my biggest help in neutral.
Mm-hmm.
It's also game plans by percent.
Yep.
I think I will kind of laser focus on an option that I want, and I think it gets a little bit too obvious, but I think I should probably go into situations whenever I reset neutral with like a plan A and maybe like plan B and C, right? So I go like there's something I'm primarily going for, but I anticipate that if I do this at this space or at this range, that I can like set up for something else if they decide to do something else.
Yeah.
And that will take longer to figure out, but I think that's also something that I want to hone in on as well.
Yep. No, that totally makes sense. As far as like game plan matchups for, I do want to warn you first of all. As far as like game plan matchups for Fox, Falco, and Marth, I get the Fox versus Marth, Fox versus Falco, Falco versus Marth. Those characters. I explained this in a Metafy session with another student. I'll leak my DMs and show you what I'm talking about.
Sure.
In my opinion, those matchups are like actually really, really like annoying to teach, not because they don't make sense or anything, but it's more so because Fox and Falco can like move around the stage so much and don't really have like inherent weaknesses to the point of like you can abuse this like super, super hard against them. And it depends on the level of the player more often than not. They're kind of hard to like put down on paper like this, but here's an example of like what a game plan I would write for Spacies might look like. So like for Falco, I put like, this is Falco Marth. So this is from Marth perspective against Falco. But basically, like, the Marth wants to edgeguard him, and so in order to get an edgeguard, you need to grab, because then you obviously can get it to 100%. And then once you force them to... How do you get a grab? Once you force them to stop lasering, he becomes much more prone to movement, right? So basically what that means is you need to stay grounded to not, like... And then we just basically list off, like, don't do these bad things, and that kind of lets you get it. And these are things to avoid, right? And we talk about neutral ranges and stuff like that, like laser strategies, whatever. And we can go in on that type of stuff too for Fox versus Marth, but in my opinion, Fox is like a really interesting character against Marth, and this matchup's like kind of weird just because I feel like it's not so traditionally like laid out on paper like other ones. Like I think if you look at like Fox versus Luigi or Fox versus Sheik, it's like a lot more apparent of like, okay, these are like inherent weaknesses these characters have that you're looking to exploit. But I think with Marth, it's a lot of like counter hits and like getting an idea of what they're looking for. So we can talk about that. I think for Fox especially, it's a lot more worthwhile to for a while talk about like bad habits that you might have, beat those out, and then you can kind of like for real build a game plan off that. But we can still talk about it in general. Like I think there's certain ranges you need to be playing more, just so like you said, so you can have those other options in your back pocket that you're, by not playing certain ranges right now, you're kind of not giving yourself that opportunity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about this edgeguard situation. So the Marth killer, why it's so broken, first and foremost, is when you use the light shield, you're covering both a little bit of the range outside of him entirely because you'll snap to the ledge, but you're also forcing Marth to go on stage because you snap to the ledge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
So it's basically like this state that you have right here, but like constant. So it's a lot easier version of it, but why it's so good especially is because when Marth is below their ledge, he doesn't have any counterplay to it, truthfully. Like below the ledge like this, he should just be hit off stage or die every time. At this percent, he is guaranteed dead, because when Marth is below the ledge, He does not have the ability to sweet spot around Marth Killer, like, at all. The only mix-up he might have is to do an earlier upbeat outside and kind of drift in, and hopefully he gets there before you're able to just react and let go shine. But again, you can react and let go shine, and that just kills him. Moki hit me with that a lot last night. I could show you tons of examples of that. Or if he has a double jump, he could double jump Nair into you, but then you just reset your shield back to neutral and you don't fall back on the ledge. You kill him for it anyway. And that's what Cody's Marth Killer strategy is really based around. So, like, if you start Marth Killering, I always recommend to people, don't really grab the ledge against Marth. You can, and it's still good. Some characters don't have really, like, good Marth Killers to begin with. So for them, I think grabbing the ledge is still good. But I think the Marth Killer, like here, it's just much easier, much more foolproof, and it's scarier for Marth, in my opinion. Because think about it this way: if your invincibility runs out and he clips you with an uppie, you're just dead, right, at 30, which just sucks. Mm-hmm. So basically, the idea with Marth Killer, now that we've established kind of like the checkmate scenario of it, of like if you're below the ledge, you're dead. Now the mix-up that Marth has, I'm going to use this thumbnail as an example just because it's clearly shown here. But now the mix-up that Marth has, right, is to either try and hit your shield, and like I said, you'll fall down and just shine him. So he can't double jump and hit your shield, he'll die. Or he has to jump around it. But, like, while you're in Marth Killer, you're still completely actionable, like, waiting, right? So all that you have to do is just, like, on reaction, or while you hit him off, so let's look at it, like, here. You hit him off here, you're like, okay, he had to use his double jump, right? So now you're able to tell he has no double jump. You can checkmate him with Marth Killer instantly. I prefer just to set it up instantly either way. But the whole time that I'm hitting them out here, I would be a Marth Killer already right now. And I'm just waiting, watching them in their little bubble and watching them while they recover. Like, what resources do they have left?
And it's because they're so far away that you would just do that, because it's like the only path they have.
I would start doing it even if they're like here. I would try and set up a Marth Killer. Because even if, like, here's an easy example, because he's so far away, he has to use his double jump to get back, right? So then you get your checkmate. You can either do, like, full hop back air back on, or, like, ledge dash up smash is the optimal one. Optimal, like, punish if you force them on stage. But even if they're far out, right, and they still have their double jump, what does Marth have in this situation? He can't go low, right? Because we've already established that he is just dead or gets hit again off stage. He's either dead or resets the situation. So he either has to try and attack, which again is very committal for him, so he doesn't want to do it. So more often than not, if the Marth is close enough to the ledge with a Marth Killer, he just double jumps above, which you can instantly shine or back air or even just full hop and be non-committal. And that's what Cody does. That why a lot of people are very scared of this Marth Killer is because they commit super hard every single time. But you've heard it a million times before. Like, Cody's just really good at using full hop and being kind of tricky with it. And he uses that in how he uses Marth Killer in the video. So, like I said, I won't get super into it because this explains it pretty well already. But if you do have any questions once the session is done, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but you can always send me a DM asking me a question. I'll always answer DMs about Melee. If it's something that's like long and complicated enough, I might suggest we have to book a session for it. But generally speaking, if I can answer it in like less than 3 paragraphs, I'll write it out for you, and it's not a problem. So yeah, definitely take a time to watch this video. But I do want to talk about the Marth Killer here in this session itself, just because I want to kind of like establish, like, when you hit Marth off stage, here obviously you can't, right? It's way too close. You don't have the time. But you could still be a little threatening and like threaten back air or dash dance here, so he should be terrified to jump at the ledge near Fox, right? Run off shine here is a death sentence. Like, this is awful for him, and he dies for it. Right? That double jump, he's now dead if you Marth Killer him. I think you get the edge guard anyway. Or he kind of just dies, but point being, he would be dead there. So in terms of edge guarding Marth, that's like a necessity, and that's probably like the biggest reason, in my opinion, why you lost yesterday is while you got a lot of good like shine gimps on him, you didn't really have many opportunity to like close out stocks efficiently, you know?
Yeah.
Because you were racking up a ton of damage. Like I remember on the Dreamland game in Winners, I was talking about the whole time like Fox needs to like actually use the stage, and you were using it at certain points, but then the second like you actually won the neutral interaction, it was like, okay, here's the edgeguard, and then nothing came, you know? And that,
Yeah,
that just sucked.
exactly.
Like you totally could have got it. So we'll actually watch the game a bit now. But before we do that, now that we've kind of established like the final part of a stock for you, I wanna get an idea of like what you think this matchup is like on paper. So like when you like whether it be 0%, whether it be just in general how you look at it, like how do you see Fox versus Marth?
So something that I need to probably account for more, I think especially like at the lower percentage range, like anywhere between like 0 and 40,
Mhm.
is probably just using a lot less committal options, primarily run and shine as an opener. Because I feel like a lot of the time, Marth is just looking for the grab right off the get go at 0,
Yeah.
or like a little bit after 0 even. Because that's when he can start to really get good punishes on Fox.
Yeah.
But Fox can't necessarily do something too committal, like just like a running short hop nair that undershoots or barely shoots into March range because of the dash back and pivot grab, and how effective those are at countering that. So as well as CC. So I probably should be going for more running shine, just out of principle, and then mixing in other options like drill and short hop nair, just to keep the mix up game up. And
Yeah.
then at mid percents, I think that's a little bit more fair game. But the main idea, I think, for me is just like kind of waiting for Marth to react to anything, because Fox has initiative as a character with laser and able to kind of take early leads or incremental leads.
Yeah, that I
Um,
definitely agree with.
yeah.
Um,
So,
Go ahead.
sorry, were you gonna add on to that, or?
I'm definitely gonna add on to that because I think that's like what your focus should be. But finish what you're saying because I do want to like hear like a full idea of like what you think of Fox Marth.
Yeah. So I basically, what I usually like to do is go for like a shine grab setup on Marth. I have, especially at lower percents, just because that seems to be Fox's main opener. Up once you're able to get Marth above you, and in, let's say, knockdown, or even not in disadvantage, it becomes a little bit easier for Fox to kind of at least bait out Marth's options, if not juggle him. So that's where I look for most of my like damage. On the Marth side, I don't really have a big game plan defensively, and I think that's one of my biggest weaknesses in this matchup, is figuring out the defensive tree against Marth's punish. So that's definitely an area in which I'm lacking.
Okay. So yeah, I definitely think in terms of like what you're looking for against Marth, you actually have some pretty like underrated like game plans going into it, which is good. I think yeah, Fox has the initiative in terms of speed and like you said, using laser. So what a lot of Foxes won't do, where I feel like the Mango like idea, not even Mango himself, because it's not his fault. He doesn't actually play like this, but like people's idea of like Mango's play style, right? Where it's like you need to overwhelm Fox, be on top of him, and like they'll hear Mango say, "Yeah, I like to be like really aggressive in Marth's face," and like you got to box him out over and over, right? But I think they take that literal, and that's not what Mango's actually doing a lot of the time. And Moki doesn't do the same thing either. Like people say, like Moki's an incredibly aggressive Fox, but like if you watch him play, I played him last night for an hour on stream, so you can actually watch that video. Like, he is literally just dash dancing outside my down tilt and dash attack range over and over and over, and trying to keep space with me in neutral, because that's like the neutral range, right? So he's not trying to like force himself into an advantageous or disadvantageous position over and over. They're actually trying to play neutral and like make a decision from there, right? So I think that's like a good starting point. And I'll send you some screenshots of that as well, in terms of like where you want to begin even playing the game. It's like basically just right outside of Marth's or down tilt range, because at that point he has to like overcommit super hard, right? If he wants to like make an initiative against you, he would have to either run up grab, run up dash attack, or F smash, right? Nothing else will hit, and he's not scary otherwise. Like you said, Fox has all the initiative to laser and do whatever. In terms of like when you actually make a punish, right? Because like I said, that's just neutral. No one's actually winning in that spot. You have initiative with laser and your speed with full hop and just run in, so that it's kind of hard for Marth to react at that point, but it is possible. So you can't just like YOLO run in and do anything. You still have to play for real. But things you would be looking for if you were to make an initial attack, I definitely think grab is incredibly underrated with Fox. And I know IBW and Zane think the same thing, where Marth actually struggles to land pretty hard against Fox. So getting a grab against him is like really, really good. Because if you put him up in the air on FD, like people will say like, oh, Marth on FD, like so broken, haha, right? But the only difference really is just that Marth actually has like a little bit more guaranteed of throw follow-ups than Fox does, but Fox still has them like really strong. Like if I had to put a ratio to it, it'd be like Marth is like 100 and Fox is like a solid like 75 or 80. But that's still like really, really high, you know? So covering, and it's like the same concept as like covering the Marth killer, which I know probably doesn't sound like too helpful right now because you haven't seen the video yet. But once you watch the video and you kind of get the idea of like managing Marth's resources and like his double jump and side B, it's the exact same concept for when you're juggling him just like off an up throw up air, right? Or like an up throw back air. It puts him in like a really awkward position, and especially when you mix it in with crouch cancel, like cover his landing with forward air, especially, like you can straight up just like crouch cancel Marth forward air and then run in shine or run in grab, right? And put him back up in the air and put him in that awkward position. So yeah, in terms of like neutral in general, I don't think it's necessarily, where I kind of disagree with you a little bit is I don't think it's necessarily an issue of, I mean, for sure you can work on not throwing out committal moves, but for you in particular, I don't think it's really a problem of you're using the wrong moves. I think it's you're playing the wrong ranges. So when you and I guess like when you were playing yesterday and I was watching on stream, one thing I noticed, and I'm just gonna let it play and see if it comes up. I guess this is like pretty good enough example already. So sure, you up smash here and he's slow on the punish, right? But one thing I noticed that HTCP has a really bad habit of is he's very committal in two ranges. He has two like massive commitments, and that's what you should be looking for as a Fox, and that's kind of like how you would neutral, right? So let's say we're gonna make this imaginary for a second, just for example's sake, but then we'll talk specifically about what you could do to even beat this punish in particular. Fox is like about a roll's distance away from Marth. Maybe his jab would reach like here. I would want you to start playing neutral from like here always, like pretty far away from him. Like if you were to just nair in, it would be an undershoot nair for sure, right? But it would definitely catch him like coming in or doing anything in place. But I would want you to start like dash dancing here, and then the idea is that you weave in and out between like going in, going out even further, coming back in. You know what I mean? Because like we established before, it might seem uncomfortable and it might seem like, well, this isn't doing anything for me, but that's just because it's your starting position. Like you even said before, Fox has all the initiative with his speed and his laser to make Marth come in or to punish him for doing anything, standing by alone too, right? So that's like your beginning position. We talked about that for a second already, but HTCP, and once you're playing from this position, I should connect these points. Once you're playing from this position, it becomes a lot easier to tell and keep track of your opponent's habits, right? So one thing you might hear a lot of people say is that like on paper, Marth beats Fox, right? And that's I would definitely agree with that. On paper, if you have two task machines playing Marth versus Fox, the Marth will just always have better spacing, right? But people are not robotic like that. They just don't have that ability. So now, you actually have in a real life situation, you would have the advantage of reaction time and scrap ability, right? Fox is much better at scrapping than Marth. So from this space over here, where not only do you have extra speed on him, you have more space, but you also have the initiative to make anything happen if you wanted to as well. From here, you're able to just sit and wait and dash dance a ton and react to what Marth is doing every time he comes in on you. Or every time that you run away from Marth and you come back to this position, you have the ability to see like how is he responding to you backing off and going back here, and is he overcommitting with anything. So two massive habits that I think if you were to try that out more, that you would notice right away that HTCP had the other day, was he has two very big tells as to like when he's gonna attack or grab. When you're close to him and you back off, or you hit his shield and he comes at you, he's always coming at you with an overcommitting attack. So here, I literally just saw you on top of his shield, and I knew it was gonna happen. He's gonna run in an F smash, or grab. But either way, point being, he's doing something out of shield aggressively every time you're close to his shield, right? Hit his shield. Sure, it's a direct punish on the up smash, but the main idea is there. Every time you hit his shield, he got really uncomfortable and was still like up in your face the whole time.
Yeah.
So
that's... I definitely... Sorry to cut you off. I also definitely like overcommit on kind of... Well, I also get antsy out of disadvantage as well, and I think that's also one of my biggest weaknesses as well.
Yeah.
Is going for like just like bad attempts at reversal, and that I think allows for people to extend their punishes on me a lot more as well.
Yep, that's definitely true. That's something that we can talk about in just like straight VOD analysis, like once we start watching. I just want to like bring up these like three big concepts of like the ranges, the edgeguard, and like with the range, how you can pick apart people's habits while you're playing. Because I think if you were able to do that, you just win the set straight up without any like adaptation for like do this in this spot instead, right? Like these are just like things you can practice in across every single matchup. So with the exception of Marth Killer is like very specific to Marth, but you know what I mean. So if you start playing that range and start like kind of just like sitting there and waiting and like looking at what they're doing, it becomes a lot more like easy to just like play neutral. But like from there, like I said, like once you start doing that, then you can pick up on bad habits. So one habit HTCP has, out of shield, he is always being aggressive. He never backs off. He never rolls. He's always like coming at you out of shield. So you can bait that out with just shielding yourself, right? Or just like a full hop away once you hit his shield, like full hop to top flat and then come back down with back air or something. That's one thing. His other tell is when you guys are dash dancing, I noticed that when you are playing a range similar to what I was talking about, he'll dash dance for a second and then he comes in with grab every time. So that's a very easy spot for you to come in and just like nair him in the face or shine him or dash dance further away and then come back in up smash or something, right? That gives you the ability to be overcommittal. The idea against Marth is that you have to be really scared of him sometimes because you don't want to get grabbed and you don't want to get F smashed in the face. So by playing at a range where you kind of eliminate those options for him without making them extremely committal for him, it makes it a lot easier. If you're up in his face all the time, like people say Mango is, or like people's idea of Mango is, you basically just let him like not only have those options, but then you're close to like auto cancel nair, like spaced like walling fair, down tilt, like up tilt or grab, and it's just like awful, right? It's terrifying. So basically, yeah, I'm gonna just write down like quick notes. I'll flesh these out for you after, but the safe neutral range is one thing that's massive, which then lets you react to bad habits easier and not necessarily with punish, but just keep track of what's happening We talked about Marth Killer. And we talked about, well, what we're going to talk about a little more real quick before we get into it. The actual VOD review is how to, how should I word this? How to keep discipline in neutral, which is pretty much the same thing as the safe neutral range, but I just want to talk about it a little bit. So like when you hear this like neutral range that I'm describing, like if I were to put it, I'm gonna leak the answer with this guy again. Where'd he go? Sick robot here. When you look at this range, like how do you feel about playing at this range?
Usually I just wait because Marth can't do anything non-reactable if I'm dashing. That's of immediate harm to me. So I'll usually just wait for the Marth to do something and then decide whether or not I want to close space or maybe dash back or pick what my option is.
Okay. But you would say you're comfortable within it, like you don't like stray away from it much?
I'd say, yeah, I'm fairly comfortable in it. I think something I can watch out for more is the stray dash attack that comes at me, because that definitely covers this range, and that's something that I don't think I expect often enough.
Okay.
But other than that, I think it's like a range that I'm pretty cool with playing against Marth at.
Because I think, yeah, this is the optimal range you want to be playing from. The idea, though, with the dash attack, or I guess just like waiting in general, is you don't have to only dash dance here either, right? You can laser from here, you can shield and just like wave dash back if he comes at you, or wave dash in if he's coming in with an aerial. You can dash dance, you can do the full hop thing like Cody does. Cody will just like full hop back here in this spot. But yeah, dash attack will really only be dash dance only here. So it's really, really not that scary. I think if you just get comfortable like mixing up like what you're actually doing in these spots, it becomes a lot easier. So how to keep discipline in neutral with more than just dash dance. And that's something I want to talk about a little bit, but because I don't think that happened too much in this set. But like I said, I'll flesh these notes after, so don't worry how they're like extremely bare bone right now. But let's actually watch these games really quick, because I know we're already like nearly 40 minutes in and we haven't really watched anything yet. But I think these are like really important concepts for Marth Fox, right? It's like you play the neutral range. There's nothing really like bad you can do from that neutral range. Like Nair is good objectively because it's a fast move that will stuff Marth in the face. But like sure, it loses crouch cancel, but that's only if he's fishing for crouch cancel. You have like down air instead of that if he does, but like down air is bad if he's like running in at you and then he can just SDI out and get out of it, right? So it's not so much picking the right moves in that spot, it's playing the ranges and playing off of what Marth is doing. Like you have the initiative to make something happen, but he has to make something happen, right? So that's kind of what you're playing off of. So yeah, here from the beginning, playing pretty good, the range, and I'm not going to be the guy who like resets something over and over, but I just want to establish like, okay, you're at the range, now you're in the corner, right? This is a very committal Nair, right? Even if it's not, like I said, a Nair isn't necessarily bad in that spot as a given, but a full hop weak Nair, like you're not going to get anything off that at 0, right? Even if Marth like doesn't crouch cancel it, you might get shine into a grab, but it's just kind of like an awkward percent to do that at. I would definitely recommend like backing Marth at 0 instead. So that's one thing. You get grabbed, okay, backing off to the range, good. That's a good Nair. I would avoid these kind of Nairs off the platform like this.
Yeah, the platform, that's one of my worst habits.
Yeah. What you could replace it with instead, just as like a quick like easy thing, it's just full hop back air or shield drop back air, or shield drop down air. Like shield drop down air is actually very underrated against Marth, I think, because a lot of them will just sit underneath the platform and crouch and try and like crouch cancel a Nair or a back air. So drill just straight up beats that, right?
Yeah, Joel beats that. Maybe yeah. I think mixing that in with shield drop back air as well, because I
Yeah.
feel like Marth can dash back or dash away at like from drill a lot easier than back air necessarily.
Yep. No, he
So
definitely can.
yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things. Like I said, like in this matchup, it's kind of annoying because both characters have so much movement and like actual like use with their moves. Like unlike Sheik or like Captain Falcon, where it's like kind of just like straightforward a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
There's usually like multiple answers to a situation in this matchup. So like yeah, I would recommend rather than that weak air, you can at least replace it with a back air spaced or down air just right on top of them. But yeah. Okay. So top platform coming with that nair again. Okay, so we've done that nair 4 times so that he can be looking for that now. Okay. Okay. So here you're putting on a lot of pressure on Marth right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Get a shine. You're in his face trying to hit him. Weak back air, which combos into up tilt or grab. So you go for up tilt, miss. He doesn't punish you for it though. He shields instead. So you be aggressive, right in his face. Weak nair, jab into instant grab. Right? Like this.
It's like a very messy scramble.
Yeah, like this to me says you're not really like looking for a combo as much. You're just looking to like put a lot of moves in his face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that weak nair does not combo into jab like that, like ever really. It might if they're like high percent, but even then, like it definitely doesn't combo into grab from there, right? Like you just pop you're hitting him down, then you're popping him up, then you're trying to get. It's just a lot, you know.
Yeah.
My recommendation, what you can do, because like I said, this matchup is one where you have to be like keeping your eyes on Marth and reacting to him as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
When you see you're getting weak hits on Marth like this, unless he's at like 80 or 90 and he's popping up straight up from this hit, like he's clearly like going down here, I would back off instantly. Marths are always scared in this spot, and it's very uncommon for a Marth to like want to chase you if you back off from here because of the threat of something like Shine or something right after. They're not just gonna like instantly run in and grab you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might feel that way, but it's really not the case. It's just every Marth like knows better than to like try and directly punish Fox for a nair or Shine like that. So this gives you like opportunity to back up, and like again, you don't even really get much off of this, right? Like you clank with the down tilt, which like thankfully you just don't get hit, and that lets you whiff a grab, but now you're in the corner against him and like you could die here, right? So my recommendation in general, unless he's at really high percent, if you ever find yourself getting a weak hit against Marth, just as like a play it safe kind of thing, just back off. I think if you could get the up tilt, sure, but in general, if he's not popping up from it, you just gotta back off, reset. So what happens after this? We get dash dancing. So here you could play the range we talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of this back air like this, I would just go play the range. My recommendation when you're playing neutral is reset to neutral as much as possible, but it's not something like Smash 4 or Ultimate or something where like you're resetting to neutral all the time and that's all you have. Like resetting to neutral in this game is very, very different because you can still like play a huge mix up out of it versus like waiting as much in the other one.
Right.
So getting chain grabbed.
I think one of the keys for me is again like probably just not reacting so recklessly out of disadvantage. Like there, you know, I'm just like, oh yeah, no, single track mind. Like I'm just going to, he's there. I'm going to nair at him because I've successfully teched on the platform. So I have to squash that mentality a lot more.
Yeah, I think what you have right now, I've talked about it with Sick Robot actually a little bit, is that you have like mashing a disadvantage right now. Where like
I have this problem in other fighting games as well.
Sick Robot when he's in disadvantage, like we talked about it on the platforms for him because he plays Marth, but when he gets off a platform, like let's say he escapes a tech chase on a platform, he's actionable in the corner, he'll instantly run off and like forward air, up tilt, like fair, like over and over, right? But you're doing it in spots where like you're getting chances to be aggressive rather than getting out of defensive, right? So here's an example of what I mean. You mess up your aggressive thing, right? He shields an up smash,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're shining instantly, right? Why not just wave dash back, right? You've reset neutral at this point. Marth technically can, if he ever shields Fox up smash, you should be getting grabbed here, right? Like he just wave dash out of shields, grabs you.
That's why I shine, because I thought he's gonna grab me, and I tried to shine out of the grab timing.
It makes sense, but I think
it's probably better to dash back anyway, because it's
makes it harder for him.
Yeah.
Right, but otherwise you kind of get stuck there, and then that's just an ST. We don't need to talk about that, but yeah, like we could. Thankfully,
sometimes he just dies a lot, so I think that's also where I got like a decent chunk of my stocks as well.
Yeah, I think this game for sure. But okay, up air nair, good covering the landing. So this is good, right? Like I said, like Marth really struggles with landing. So here, I'm assuming this is what you're doing, and you're just reacting to what he's doing. Once, like I said, his resources kind of similar to the Marth killer thing. Once the combo ends, you're just looking to see what he does. He double jumps, well, he's gonna get back aired for that, or at least should. But yeah.
Yeah, I was just a little slow on it.
Yep, which happens. Like I think both of you guys definitely had a lot of like flub in this game for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Okay, here exactly, right? HTCP and shield, whiff and grab. You hit a shield, boom. Every time, this guy is always acting out of shield aggressively, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to see when you're playing the range, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
Okay, so here, honestly, this is just like a tough spot in terms of like how to actually get out of this combo. Tech chase, up air. What you could do instead, just as like a quick tip for when Marth combos you vertically, here, when you get grabbed in this spot, like I'm gonna rewind a little bit and try not to think of what you actually did. Let's just look at it on paper, right? Grabbed here. Where do you think is the best place to go? And I don't mean to ask this in like a condescending way. I'm genuinely trying to ask you.
Probably on the platform.
Yeah, I think so. If you go on the if you go straight up here, you just get up aired and then either re-grabbed depending on the percent, or like just comboed like up air into nair or something. If you go to the right, you get like Ken comboed or pivot F smashed or whatever. But if you go on the platform here, you can still get F smashed if you go anywhere here, right? Marth can literally just tip or F smash you in this spot. A lot of people don't do it because they're like, oh, I'm on a platform, I can't F smash unless I'm on the ground, which is kind of dumb, but it's just how people think sometimes. But here is where you want to land in this spot, because think of it from Marth's perspective at the very edge of the stage where it's kind of awkward for him to double jump. The most he can do from this position is get a fair. Ideally for you, it becomes a tipper fair, because then it knocks you up and then you get to play a little mix up of like where you fall at the very least. Because like we said, Marth is bad at covering Fox's landing sometimes.
Yeah.
But you don't die for it, right? Whereas if you go anywhere here, you have the potential of dying, right? Tipper F smash, can combo off stage. Like you don't get pushed off stage for teching further away from him.
Well, if it's a tipper fair, if it's a tipper fair, it might pop me up. But if it's a regular fair, I can probably get like a slide off, right? Which would be even better.
You can get either slide off, or you can just hold out, and at least that way you're not like extending a fair combo for him, right? Either works in this spot.
Okay.
Yeah, here you lose your jump. I don't know if you saw it, but right here, this fair off stage over here, right here. See that? See the rings there? So you can't double jump out of that spot. This spot you just gotta hope to not die, but
right.
Yeah, that kills you there.
Yeah.
Okay. So neutral range right in front of him. This is not what you want to do, right? Like I said, you want to play the neutral range. You can use your invincibility hard, but because you missed this back air, in my opinion, when you come down from invincibility, you get one chance. to do something completely bullshit. So when they're invincible, I usually will overcommit once. But after that, because you miss the back air, now you got to play the range, right? Because now you're right in front of them, you get grabbed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this stock, low-key, you'll hear it a lot against good players. They care so much about invincibility. Like Junebug hates invincibility in Smash because he thinks it's like actually kind of broken. But how you play invincibility completely matters, because now you're basically starting the stock with 30% where you kind of didn't have to, right?
Yeah.
So here, this is the edgeguard position we talked about. Could get a free edgeguard on him, but he kills himself anyway. So he's SD'd twice this game. Okay.
But I've also SD'd twice this game.
Yeah, fair. Very true. Okay, so why do you get grabbed here? Let's go back to that. So you get off the ledge, coming in with that nair again. We don't want to do that. And then, yeah, missing it down air and then just coming in right on him. So, yeah, I think you definitely have a habit of this nair. So be aware of that. You can definitely replace that with just, like, full hop. I like full hop or just shielding and baiting a shield drop here. Those are really, like, just kind of broken for Fox on a platform in this spot. But you definitely don't want to do, like, the full run-in nair. If you do this nair against Falco, you'll just die for it all the time. Mm-hmm. So this is definitely a nair you kind of want to avoid doing in almost like any matchup. But here, same thing, the disadvantage thing. You get the shine out here, and then you just right back in on him, right? And he's fishing for it. I really don't think... I think HTCP isn't a bad player, but I think they're playing autopilot Marth quite a bit, if that makes sense. Like, they're not... I don't think HTCP... He has only had to adapt in a recovery situation because you kept killing him for shine. But otherwise, I think he's kind of doing the same things regularly.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's just kind of forcing his will on you, and you're not really, like, responding it to it effectively because you're doing, like, weak neutral choices. Or when you get in an advantageous state, you're pushing it too hard. Right? Yeah. Here, you could have Marth Killer. So this is what I mean. Like, the Marth Killer is massive. In this spot, because he's so far low, after the shine, if you just roll and hold Z... Do you know what the Z thing for Marth Killer?
No, I don't.
Okay, so basically, Z is actually a macro in Melee. It doesn't actually just grab. It's actually a shield grab, but it's frame perfect. So why that's important to know is because when you buffer, like if you try and grab and sometimes you're slow on it in any match or any action. So let's say you like whiff a nair or something and you press Z and you're too early. You'll actually get a light shield instead of an L cancel or something. Or sorry, not an L cancel, a grab. So why that's important to know is because when you roll and you're still holding Z while you're rolling, you'll get a light shield every time. So it's really good to just roll to the corner to set up Marth Killer, and you just hold Z, and that gives you like Marth Killer instantly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So from here, right? Like I said, you want to threaten Marth Killer as much as you can without getting hit. Here's a perfect opportunity for you to do so, though. You get shine, right? Out of the shine, if you instead of full hopping here, you just rolled and Marth Killer. He's double jumping, right? And that just loses instantly to either getting shine or if he aerials your shield, which most people will do in a scrap spot like that. They'll hit it. They'll be forced to go low, and then you just get to hit them, right? So definitely, like I said, you want to force Marth Killer as much as possible. You want to force these ranges. But yeah, oh look, good thing you caught him here with this. But look, I was just about to say, you're close to HCCP. He's rolling, which and then shielding. Look, and
acting out of shield, he could have. If I were later on this, then yeah, it would have been the same exact trick as he had on me on the battlefield battlefield game where we pointed that out.
But you can see instantly, like he's starting up the F smash here, right? So you get lucky here, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, shine. This could have been Marth Killer. Marth Killer would have killed him here. Okay, good side B. Nair. Okay. So here is a really awkward spot, right? This spot sucks against Marth. It's not really like fun. And this is a spot where Marth can kind of edgeguard you pretty hard. In my opinion, though, what you would want to do in this spot always, and this is like a very common spot where people get knocked up from either fair or nair, Or sometimes even like F smash if they DI it like perfect. But I would always opt go to a top platform versus fall down here, because if you fall down here, you basically just get pushed off stage even further, and you risk like getting hit by something like F smash. And if you try and like land like here on top of him, it's a lot scarier, because unless you have a double jump, you can kind of mix up like if you're gonna land low, but you pretty much just risk like getting up tilted or up aired into a juggle, and I think that just kind of is like really bad. So I'll just try my best to edge cancel a side B, do a side B shorten up top here or something, or like shorten it to like come here and like, but he sees the side B, so he'll come try and cover it here. But even if he does cover it here, the best he really gets is like an up air and you get knocked up. But at least then you get to play the Marth is bad at landing or juggling Fox game, and you can land like with an up B like here, you can go here, you can go here. But at least you're not like playing it from the corner here, right? So in this spot, just go to the platform here. Don't double jump like right on top of Marth. Cause see, that's just like much more awkward for him to cover.
Yeah.
Okay, and then here he dies. Okay.
Struggle, I think, with just like normal shield dropping off of platforms is a habit, just as an escape route. That's something I'll just kind of probably have to just get used to.
Yeah.
Because I especially against Marth, I find myself like trying to like full hop or like roll or like just run off the platform like out of situations a lot, and Marth can cover a lot of space on the platform anyway. So the same thing goes a little bit for Falcon, but it's less so pertinent with Falcon just because Marth I think has ability to cover a lot more confined space, whereas Falcon, if Falcon's trying to cover this like space above him, he does so like a little bit more in shorter bursts.
Yeah.
So definitely want to think more about escape routes, I think, especially in this matchup.
I think really there's only like 3 you need to consider, but 2 you really only ever need to use. And it's really just, like I said before, full hop and shield drop on a platform. And then sometimes if you want to get like cover like him like dash dancing here, you can just do like wave dash off back air. That's pretty good. Wave dash off is pretty underrated. But otherwise, like I think there's never really like points you want to like do just like a regular like fall through the ledge kind of thing with Fox instead of like shield drop. Because at least shield drop will stop like instant fair from Marth or something, right? It like basically like stops him from being able to do like instant fair or like spamming up tilt or up air or something over and over, because they know they're gonna get directly punished for that on hit. So full hop basically will like you do shield drop to punish those like them hitting your shield. You do full hop to bait them like trying to juggle you from the platform as if they're playing like a vertical game. And you play the wave dash off back air if they think they're going to dash dance around you. That's like pretty much the 3 you only ever really need. Other than that, Marth has to back off, and that just gives you a free like chance to get on the ground, and you can play from there. But that's like going to be something they're avoiding to do. So those are the 3 options you kind of like threaten to them, if that makes sense. Okay. So yeah, that's basically the answer for that. Here I'm trying not to be like super negative. I just want to like really like point out these bad habits. So if we talk about like how to like get a concrete like matchup in this or a game plan, sorry, in this matchup, we can beat out these habits for it ahead of time, or at least like structure them around beating those habits. But here, instant nair, right? Shine, back air, up tilt, like trying to scrap a ton, right? Not really much opportunity to kind of reset. But what if instead from the invincibility, you just dash dance here? You see him dash dancing all the way over there. It's not a hard reaction, right? We can see it just from the respawn platform. He's moving. You don't have to worry about him like coming back in on you in that spot because you're invincible. So like I said, I think when you're a rule to follow when you're coming off the invincibility platform, you get 1 aerial, but then that's it. You don't get to really play it from there.
Yeah.
So grab here. I don't know if you really have time for this, but I just want to say in general, when you get up thrown like this on Marth on a platform, always try, if you think you're going to get up aired, to tech in the corner because that lets you slide off DI, right?
Okay.
And then you never get juggled by Marth ever. You just knock it off. But
Yeah.
you have to tech to a corner is the problem, or roll to a corner.
And I think in this case it's probably a tech to the left and just go to ledge after you get the slide off.
I would honestly even just do like tech to the right on this one.
Okay, just because the way in which he's Marth's facing, are you able to slide off if he doesn't up air facing that way? I thought it pertained to.
You can.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. What's the
The harder one is the reverse
input
hit.
for that?
It would be forward and down on C stick.
Just forward and down, even though like I thought the directional of the hit was like slightly back, so it was like easier to get the slide off if you go to the left because like the downward angle and side inputs are perpendicular to the direction of that hit, but I'm probably mistaken. I'll try doing it when just regardless of where I'm at on the platform, regardless which way Marth's facing.
I'm pretty sure there's an event in Uncle Punch that's like literally this exact situation with Marth up air.
Yeah.
But so you can definitely lab it out. But why I'm suggesting go to the right here is because you fall closer to the stage anyway. And what some Marths will do to beat slide off DI, which is more of like a gimmick than anything, the only way they can beat slide off DI is that they get like a really, really late up air. They can maybe mash up tilt or like F smash or something. But most Marths are just doing like instant up air or like the up air, the second Fox bounces, right? And why that's really bad is because if you get the slide off DI, like this is an early up air, right? He's drifting to the left, so he probably won't get punished like super hard for it. But if he does it in place, one, if you get the slide off DI, even though he's drifting this way, you just get to land and you can reset to neutral. But two, if he stays where he's drifting or he's even coming forward with you, you can like literally just land and up smash him out of the air for doing it. So that's like a huge reversal opportunity against Marth is the slide off on up air. But generally speaking, like when you get up thrown on a platform and you know they're going to up air, just try and get your best to get to a corner so you can slide off, because up throw up air, like it's real, but at the same time, it's kind of not real. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing, but it's not really like, there's so many ways you can punish it that it kind of makes it like fake to go for a lot.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Again, that's probably, I mean, he has more recovery options there, but that's probably a spot I can at least attempt Marth Killer.
Yeah. Where, here?
Here,
that's a checkmate. Yeah.
Is it a checkmate?
Yeah, for sure. I think you were talking about the one before this right here.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Here, for sure, Marth Killer. Anytime they're below the ledge, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you're Marth Killer in here instead of full hopping.
Mm-hmm.
What are you scared of here?
Nothing in, well, not right now, nothing in particular, but I guess, like,
assuming you're Marth Killer here,
he can okay. If I'm Marth Killer right here, he can go to ledge by doing nothing.
If he just drifts, no, he can't. He would have to commit to double jump.
He has to jump.
Yeah,
but he can go to ledge by doing nothing.
You'll watch the Cody video on like how to react for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing. He has nothing he can do here. He has one mix up maybe with double jump, but even then that's a huge commitment for him. He's gonna be forced to go low.
Okay.
He can't air dodge after that double jump either, because that just gives you more time to react and do it.
Okay.
But especially after you see him side B here, you're like, oh sweet, I got this, right?
Yeah, and then I drop shine. I think
shine.
that's just a bad habit.
Imagine you're Marth Killing here. He's below the ledge like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's checkmate. You just up smash him.
Yeah, so it's like you Marth Killer and they land on stage and you can just regular get up smash, right?
No. The one, so you can, but it gets kind of awkward. It's like Sheik sometimes. You know how Sheik sometimes, like
can do like the weird ledge poof.
Yeah, exactly. So what you would do instead is let go of ledge, double jump back air kind of thing. And that gives them a 50-50 of either go back off stage or Omps attack, which you just up smash them for it. Or the optimal one, if they're at high percent, it's a little harder, but it's really good and worth practicing in solo practice, is let go from ledge, like do a far ledge dash on, and then come back in and up smash him. Does that make sense? So you ledge dash past him, and you come back up smash. And there's no counterplay he has for that. So those are the two like finishers you have for Marth Killer. Some people will do ledge hop, like let go of ledge, double jump, like second hit up air, which is fine. But you just kind of have that opportunity. Like if you fuck it up, like he has the single hit to kind of SDI out kind of thing. So it's just like, why give it to him when you can just do back air or up smash instead, right? So it works. That's a thing, but I personally vouch to just not do it. I tell Foxes not to do it because it's not that good. Versus the other two, I think are way more annoying for Marth to deal with. Okay, so I would definitely recommend from your up smashes here, this is the second time we see it, you being really aggressive right after, which like, granted, this actually probably could have worked, which is pretty funny, but just because something works doesn't mean it's necessarily good. Does that make sense? I would definitely try and recommend once you start like whiffing up smashes on Marth's shield, just get out of that situation as best you can.
Right.
Okay. Okay, Marth Killer here. Okay. He could be dead here. Okay, Marth Killer. Okay. So how are you playing with the invincibility? Shielding, good. Okay, playing the range. That Nair again. Right. So we see that Nair and these like aggressive options coming in a little too much. Okay, recover. Tech chase. Okay, good playing the range. Okay, backing off to the range, good. Okay, Marth Killer. Oh, that works too.
It magically works because I'm over 100%. But
yeah, exactly. But that's the idea. So I know we talked a lot about the range, so I'm gonna like extend this a little bit if you have the time, and we'll just like quickly go through one more if that's okay. But I think that's a lot to work on, and like I said, these will be fleshed out more, and you have the Cody video too for like the for sure how to do Marth Killer.
Yeah. Okay.
But we'll watch one more, and then yeah, we'll take it from there.
Okay.
So okay, FD. This one is the one you win. So this is probably a good one to watch. Compare to the one you lose, because you can then see exactly what's going right and what's going wrong. So starting off the game here, from go, get a grab, that's obviously a misinput. Weak Nair into shine, so you get grabbed for it. Talked about weak inputs, or weak hits. Okay, up tilt, still attacking him, but you get a back air on him anyway. Playing the range. Okay, that was committal, but it's fine. Okay. So one thing I will say, when you get an opportunity like this to escape the chain grab, this is just like a bad habit a lot of Foxes will do in general, and sometimes it works because the Marth will often like overcommit because they're trying to just do their sequence of inputs, right? So they will be stuck in lag like this guy is here. What I would suggest, you come in down on him with a drill here to try and reverse him. Just try and get away as much as you can with like a hungry box back air. Do you know what I mean? Like drifting away and back air kind of thing. He can dash attack it. He can grab it. But that's only if he's reacting. More often than not, they'll be like, oh shit, I fucked up, and reset to neutral. It's a very big commitment for them. Like from the Marth's perspective, that's like really bad to do. Right? Because you still have drift mix up, but really it's like the same thing as like when you're playing the range, like the idea of laser, right? Laser isn't like great on its own. Marth can go in and just punish it, but it's much more committal for him to do it, and he risks getting reversaled like quite a bit. So you want to just do the back air there instead. Like imagine if you got out of here, you'd be landing like all the way over here, and he does this dash back in grab because he can't react to this, right? Like just that quickly. You'd be way over here, then you escape it. So just in general, try not to be aggressive coming out of an escape chain grab. Just try and put some space between you guys the best you can. Up air. Okay, backer. Okay. And dead. Okay. So this is good though. You play the invincibility really well here, right? One move, jab, put some pressure on him, but then you back off instantly, right? That's, in my opinion, how you should be playing invincibility more often than not. Okay, and then here, again, Marth killer. If you Marth killer here, he's just dead. Like, checkmate, RIP bozo kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this one, you can't, right? Because you don't have time here. This shine, you don't have time to set it up. So you just kind of have to play this as like a stalemate. Like, okay, he gets a ledge. You pressure Martha on the ledge from here.
Best way to set it up, by the way, is just basically like roll 2 ledge and then buffer like light shield back.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to like set up Marth killer.
Yep. That's the best way to set it up.
Okay.
And that's how that makes it very easy to tell too whether or not you have time to do it, right? Whoa, this
because it has a set number of frames. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. There are other Marth killers that exist. Like I said, like you can do ones that I can't tell if we're ahead or behind. I think we're ahead, or yeah, we're ahead of what we were talking about. So I'm just gonna pause it. But there are other Marth killers that exist where you can you could do it facing forward, right? Like facing forward at the ledge, or you can even do it like Marth killer, but you're like not leaning your shield back off stage like the other one, and you're actually just like neutral shield, but you SDI it in like that. That's the KGH Marth killer. But in general, the regular one is like more than enough, like way more often than not. And yeah, the roll is like a really good indicator as to like whether or not you have time. If you don't have time to roll, you don't have time to Marth killer. You just play the ledge from there. Okay, so up air. Okay, good that you're resetting to the ledge. So this is like something I feel like you weren't doing much before, but you're doing it on FD because I think you're scared of getting grabbed here. Right? You do the Nair Shine, like do this F tilt, and then you're backing off instantly, right? Backing off shielding, putting pressure, but you're still like playing the range a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
That's really good. And then Nair. Shine for double jumping. He's a moron. But yeah. Okay.
I'm rolling a lot.
Yeah, but it's not bad, right? Because they're not like super committal rolls. This roll, yeah, not great because you're rolling into him. But the other ones, like that roll's not that bad, right? The only thing he really has to beat that is like something that's like super committal.
Yeah, but I also have a habit of like I think rolling behind Marth when they're invincibility though, so that's something I want to be cognizant of.
Yeah, I think in general, if you're gonna deal with Marth's invincibility, the easiest like simple one to just kind of beat it, because he doesn't really have the best option to do it, is just go on a platform and light shield, and just make sure you're not doing the light shield at like facing a direction where you'll get pushed off kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, do that, and like what does Marth have to do to beat that? Light shield, you won't get shield poked. He has shield breaker, but if you have a good shield, like it won't break it, and then you can just full hop away and like go somewhere else. And then yeah, the only thing he really has is waveland grab, but you can react and just shield drop and get away from him. And you have a faster fast fall than him, so he can't chase you from that. So yeah, it's dealing with Marth's invincibility. I guess obviously on FD you can't do it, but on other stages for sure. Definitely the one. Okay, so let's look at this. Playing the range, he just gets out. That's just how it is sometimes. Okay. Here you don't back off, but I'm not expecting you to back off every time, but yeah, that's just kind of what it is. You don't back off here. Okay, corner, rolling in. That's the habit we talked about. Okay, coming in on Marth. Still, you get grabbed. So he's just fishing for grab, right? Look at all these past interactions. grab. Right? Dash dance, grab. Dash dance, nair,
Side views of
grab.
love.
Yeah. But this is what, like, a run-up grab, right? You ever, yesterday, or sometime it was Sunday, so 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
He has two tells, right? On shield, he's always doing something very committal out of shield. And then when he's dash dancing, he's more often than not fishing for grab, right? We just see it here 4 times in a row. Every time he's dash dancing, grab. Chain grab, wait till he drops it, okay? Nair, dash dance, grab, right? Drops it again, grab. Okay. Ooh, yeah, that could have been it, but just a little slow. Here, this is an awful spot for Marth, right? IBDW, like, makes, if you ever watch IBDW versus Zane versus any Marth in this spot, IBDW makes Zane like just freak out in the air, like start throwing out moves and stuff. It's because what he's looking for in this spot is he's just looking to cover Marth's landing of like either hit him with side B or punish him for doing an aerial coming down, right? So here, if you're looking for the side B, right, instant up air or back air, and he just dies for it every time.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, that's scary.
Based off of what you're seeing, like I guess when HCCP is getting juggled on me,
like you're juggling him, right?
Or no, when he's juggling me even.
Okay.
I feel like one of the things I'm struggling with is like I think sometimes I'll get ambiguous DI on up throw, right, to get the slight behind, so that I can shine out of it. But I sometimes morphs cover that, and it's just kind of like, but I mean, is there a particular set of things that I can be doing that make it as difficult as possible for Marth to get those like early mid combos on me? So, or is it just kind of something you accept?
The thing you have to know about the chain grab, it's beneficial for Fox to know the percent that Marth is chain grabbing him at, because then you kind of get an idea of like what he's gonna start going for. So basically how the chain grab works, it's port dependent, but if you want to give it like a general range to follow, which I think is probably better, I start doing the pivot grab as Marth around 15%. So from 0 to 15, all you're trying to do is mix up you're just trying to get the slight DI as much as possible, because the 0 to 15 the grab is very tight, right? And it's hard to tell. That's when the slight DI, no DI mix up is like actually real, and you can get out of it like every time. From 15 onwards, it is really a matter of does Marth get the pivot grab or not, but you can still make it difficult for him by doing the slight DI or not doing the slight DI. More often than not, do the slight DI just because it's harder, right? And that lets you mash the shine. From 30 onwards, that's when up tilt starts becoming a thing. So you get popped up basically. And there are sometimes DIs, if it's not exactly 30, where you can like DI like really far behind Marth if he doesn't space it properly. But that's kind of that. But basically what I'm suggesting is that 0 to 15, do the pivot, do the slight DI as much as possible. And then the 15 to 30, like also do it as much as possible, but understand that like if he does the pivot grab, he's probably just going to get it. And then from there, it's really a matter of like how you do normal landing against Marth. So the chain grab has variations past 30 of like at 30 he can up tilt, but he can also still regrab depending on how you DI. So there's like certain DIs you can do, but it doesn't necessarily make it difficult for him. He just has to respond accordingly. It's once he starts getting like up airs and stuff, that's when you get to actually like play to actually get out like a normal character. So like an example of that would be like if you get him to like 50 and you just do DI up straight up and he keeps doing up air, he's not responding to that as he should, you just get to DI straight up, and then sure, maybe you end the combo at like 90 or 100, but you're high in the middle of the stage, and then you get to play that landing mix-up like we talked about before. Otherwise, if he's like pushing you off stage with like forward air or something, your job is to start DIing out on stage as much as possible, so he doesn't drag you to the corner and then you start DIing out, because at that point you're pretty much just dead. So it's annoying. This stage is brutal because, like I said, the punish game for Marth is just a lot more guaranteed, but it's still difficult for him if you are good at mixing up your DIs in general, just so that he has to respond in different ways, you know? If you only do the up DI on up air every stock, he's going to adapt to it eventually, right? But if you mix it up and make him have to guess like what he's going to have to do, like what route he's going to have to take, then it becomes a little bit more difficult. But yeah, the low percents, it's just a matter of getting the slight DI or not. Some people will notch their controller so they get it a lot more consistently, but that's I don't think that's really like something you can like actively like look for on a OEM. It's just, do you get it or not kind of thing. But yeah, anyway. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay, cool. It's kind of a shitty answer because it's like hope, really, but that's the most you can do in that spot. Okay, forward air. Reach range, get a shine, up smash, doesn't kill though. I think instead of up smash here, if you're comfortable doing this, I know some people find it really difficult, but shine nair, really really scary for him. Because the up smash just won't kill at 70, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, I actually really think Fox is good at juggling Marth, and it's not necessarily juggling, but this whole like Marth killer offstage like recovery thing that you mix up you can play, that's like really really scary for him. Like Cody makes Zane freak out and do all these weird uppies because he's just so good at it.
Yeah. I think something I can also do is mixing up like maybe like a tomahawk like grab with the full hops, like when I'm back air walling him. Like,
yeah, definitely.
He's shielding it a lot, so
you definitely can. It's risky, like I would say it's more committal than you think maybe, but
yeah.
it's an option for sure. It's just like you have to think about it in terms of like the context of the match, like
yeah, and risk reward.
Look how many times he's trying to grab you here, right? Like,
yeah,
he is fishing hard for that grab. So if you land in front of him and he realizes there's no shield stun, he's gonna, it's coming, you know?
That's true.
What I would say here, though, like, again, you get the shine, but instead of full hopping here, if you just grab the ledge and Marth killer, like, he's already used his double jump. Even if he side Bs, he's gonna be popped, like, you're gonna be popped down to grab the ledge like this anyway, right? From there, he has nothing. Like I said, below the ledge with Marth killer is a checkmate scenario. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry we couldn't get like through the whole set. I know this was like a little bit over. I did this an hour and a half. We only had an hour, but I hope this was helpful. Do you have any questions before we end things here? I do need to get ready. For OBS.
Not particularly. No, you can get ready.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over just the things you wrote down and just kind of do some research on each of those topics.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to say I need to get ready in terms of like make it quick. I'm just saying like I wish I couldn't extend this more and we could finish it. I just don't have the time. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you have any questions, absolutely, I'd be happy to answer those. But if not, that's totally fine. I can, like I said, I will be beefing this up to kind of give you like a couple more paragraphs on like why these ranges are actually important versus like just kind of the idea that we spoke about them. In terms of like homework, I don't usually like giving out homework, but definitely I think this is like a must watch for how to edgeguard Marth. So definitely check out this video. I linked it with a timestamp, so I'm going to take that out because that's not supposed to be there. But yeah, that's definitely a must watch. Like I said, also, if you have any questions whatsoever, after rewatching the video, I'll have this uploaded to YouTube as soon as possible. Send those my way and I will absolutely get back to you as quickly as I can. And like I said, I'm happy to answer them. The video is going to be uploaded on YouTube right away, so you'll have that. And yeah, like I said at the beginning of the session, I hope this was helpful. One individual session is always like good for a couple quick answers. So if that's all you're looking for, perfectly fine. I'm happy to give it to you. But if you are looking to like build off of what we talked about today, definitely recommend booking more sessions in the future. I'm also going to be streaming later tonight, so if you have questions while you're watching the video, if you watch it today, yeah, absolutely feel free to ask me there. I'll answer there too. But yeah, I hope it was helpful, man. I'll see you at Collision, hopefully.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be later this week. But yeah, have a good night.
You too. Take
All right.
care.
Peace.
Bye.